Today on my seafood trails, I'm in Donegal, and behind me is Killybegs, Ireland's #1 fishing port. Measured by the value of fish landed, a total of €125 million in 2017. Hello, Brad.
Hello, Nevens.
How are you?
Nice to see you.
Good to see you.
Come
Thank
on
you.
inside.
I will. Thank you very much. This is fantastic what you've done here. Something new, something different. How did your seafood shack begin?
Initially, it was, I had thought I was going to do a coffee and crepes trailer for the summertime. And then we thought fish, seafood, Killybegs. We get a lot of passers-by here going to Sleeve. The views that we have even in Killybegs, Fincher Beach on the way to the cliffs. We get about 300,000 people that are on their way past here, so I figured why not?
Tell me about what you offer here in your menu.
Yeah, so I tried to keep it what I can get locally. So I deal with a very good company called Malloy Seafoods. So they basically can get it from the boats, take it to their fish factory, prepare it, do all the filleting, and then they'll bring it back to me and I'll serve it. Normally I would batter haddock, fresh haddock. It goes down very well with the locals and the tourists actually. Cod goujons, so I'm slicing the cod. I'm breading it every morning. It's hard work, but it works, and I find fresh every day is the best way to serve it. Prawns that I do, I bread them fresh every day as well, and I do calamari, and I find calamari squid here is quite plentiful. It's actually one of the most popular things that I serve here. Again, quite simple. It takes about 20 seconds to cook.
So what kind of fish is caught here? You said squid. What other varieties of fish are caught now in Killybegs? What's it well known for?
Well known for mackerel.
Mackerel.
And scad. It's pelagic fishing is what predominantly happens here in Killybegs. The white fishing, haddock and cod and pollock actually would be quite plentiful as well. We're very lucky where we live. We have fish right at our doorstep.
So you're going to cook your signature dish, the calamari. Tell me about that.
Indeed. So this is the squid, yeah.
Do you get them in like that?
Yes, I would get them in like this. You take away, first of all, I know we have the ink.
Yeah, you pull it out.
Yeah.
And that's the black ink from the squid that you'll see in black pasta.
And actually for Halloween, kids love their pasta coming out black. What you're doing is just taking out.
I'm always fascinated with this.
The cartilage coming out. It fascinates me too. It's quite plasticky, I guess. So what you do is you just take off, I call them the wings.
Yeah, you're right. That's what I call them too.
Yeah, this is it. I've had people say to me that in other countries they like the tentacles.
Of course they do.
So I just find that in Ireland, maybe in Killybegs anyways, they just don't go for meat.
I know in the Basque country in San Sebastian, they love the tentacles. They crispy fry them too, the whole thing. Oh yeah.
Now, I would like to see, hopefully, more people at home eating seafood.
Yeah.
I find I've got a very young little following actually.
No, that's interesting.
It is. I have a lot of young children in Killybegs that won't eat seafood unless it's from Mairead's Seafood Shack. So yeah, I have a lot of parents cooking fish at home and giving me the credit, although it isn't me that cooked it, just to get them to eat their fish.
That's fantastic, well done.
I know when I ask people about eating seafood at home, everybody seems to think that there's a smell, maybe when they cook seafood at home, but I'm going to quell that and just say that I disagree. I think that, especially with fresh calamari, there's no smell.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you get fresh fish, from your local fishmonger, wherever you're getting it.
Absolutely. So I'm just going to give it a quick rinse.
Okay, so you're giving a quick rinse in water. Lovely.
So that's the squid freshly rinsed.
Now, I see in your menu, you have your breaded cod goujons, but you have your seafood box, and you also have your chowder.
In New Edition, we were in a competition to see who had the best chowder in Donegal, and we were very lucky to win it. So we're off to Kinsale next April to represent Donegal in the All-Ireland Chowder competition. Good excuse for me to get down to Kinsale and have a nice weekend away.
Isn't that lovely? Award-winning chowder. Getting kids to eat fish, I'm telling you. You're on a mission.
We're doing it, exactly.
So what's the next stage of this?
I find at the top to be a little bit chewy. This is me, I've experimented with it a few different ways. So the ends as well, maybe I find a little bit chewy. So what I just tend to do is cut it quite thin.
So on a very busy day, how many squid would you have to prepare?
Oh, about 40 to 50 squid. Sometimes you might get a little bit of membrane.
Yeah, just pull it out.
Just pull it out,
That's
exactly.
it, yeah.
You said it. Give it a bit of a rinse there.
Can I help you here?
Yeah, perfect, please. That'll be great.
So what have we here?
So we have our Cajun spice. I find people like a little bit of heat, maybe.
But not too much.
Not too much, exactly. It's 3 parts flour. So we're going to do twice the amount. So that's 6 of plain flour and 2 of the Cajun spice.
This smells a great Cajun spice.
Yeah, it's beautiful actually. So we're just going to add some of our rings.
You're just coating it and just tossing it really?
Yes, exactly. I keep tossing it, and it's actually quite a naturally, I guess, sticky fish, so it just coats. I don't need to do anything else to it. It's great. So this is ready to be cooked. Okay. I have my fryer all ready to go.
Is that just vegetable oil you fry in?
This is, it's just a good quality vegetable oil, exactly. And there we are, straight in.
It cooks very fast.
So you're talking about 20 or 30 seconds.
That's amazing.
So straight it up again. I feel sometimes like fish needs to maybe rest. Gives it maybe a little second just to
relax.
To relax, a little bit softer.
You have your lovely little cartons here, all your cutlery, like you're very much...
This is it, exactly. So when I started actually this endeavour of mine, I ended up actually getting a little bit of funding from bordbia.ie through their flag initiative, which basically is anything to do with seafood and environmentally friendly and rural areas. So basically I have solar panels on my seafood shack, so they power the fridges for me, but all over the course of the summer when my generator runs out of gas, it's very handy. I can switch straight over to the solar power.
That's great.
Yeah, it's very good. My cutlery is all biodegradable, compostable containers that I have, and over the course of the summer I have 3 bins out where I do recycling as well. And it's a little bit, but it all works.
So they're cooked already?
They are indeed. So just with a little wedge of lemon,
here,
perhaps. Yeah. I hope they're not too hot.
So you squeeze a little bit of lemon. And what do you normally serve with this? Do you serve a wee dip or?
So we make our own tartar sauce as well. We make garlic mayonnaise and our pink sauce.
This is the best calamari I've ever tasted.
Really, right.
And I've eaten a lot of it in the Basque country, and that this is so fresh.
That's good. Thank you.
So soft.
Yes.
Not overly spicy. It's a great success what you've done here in Killybegs, and keep up the great work.
Well, thank you, Nevin.
Love your passion.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you. So nice to see you, my friend.
Nice to see you, Nevin. You're very welcome to Harveys Point.
Great to be back in Harveys Point, and what a fantastic setting. So what are you going to cook for me?
So today we're going to do a nice simple mussel and leek risotto.
Gorgeous. And these are your mussels?
Very local mussels farmed in Donegal Bay. First thing we're going to do is steamer mussels, Donegal rapeseed oil.
Great product.
Finely chopped shallot, some finely chopped garlic.
Lots of nice flavour in there.
Lots of lovely flavour. And just as a nice background flavour, we're going to add our bay leaves.
Gorgeous.
So nice bay leaves, give it a nice aroma, a nice
really
background flavour. Sweat that off lightly for a few seconds. So we don't want any colour in this, Nevin. We don't want any caramelisation because garlic could make the final product bitter. Lovely McHugh mussels. So the white wine I'm using today is St. Clair Sauvignon Blanc. We don't want to go down the road of too cheap wine, and we're literally just going to steam them, so we cover them with a lid until the mussels are open. So in this pot here, we're going to start our risotto base. Very same principle already as the start of the mussels. We're going to use our Donegal rapeseed oil.
Sometimes people think like risottos, oh, they're very difficult to make, they're hard to make. They're not. They just require a little bit of care and attention, don't they?
Care and attention being the definite words there. We sweat off our shallots and garlic. So the risotto rice that we're using today, Nevin, is our borio rice. It's more starchy and it absorbs more flavour.
So you're just glazing it with
glazing
the oil?
It now, yeah. We're going to use the liquor from the mussels. So instead of just putting the wine in now, we want to use the liquor from the mussels because of the flavour. So we're just going to have a quick look. Oh yes.
I can smell that nice wine.
Nice wine, nice garlic.
So just with a colander, just pass it?
Just pass it through.
Oh, you can smell the bay leaf too. Yeah. You want them in there?
Thank you very, very much.
No problem. And voila.
So that's the nice stock we're left with here. A little bit into the risotto.
Very clever what you've done.
It's all about intensifying the flavour.
Will I take some of these out to you?
Yes, please,
Give
Nevin,
you a bit of
because
a
what
hand?
we're going to do is we're going to use the mussel meat back in the risotto just when it's nearly cooked, and we're going to leave 3 just as a garnish around the plate as well, if that's okay with you. So now I'm just going to add the second part of the stock. Keep stirring the risotto. We don't want it to stick to the bottom. And not really at a high temperature either, Nevin, but a medium temperature we're at here, okay?
Perfect. So what's in the saucepan here?
We make our own homemade vegetable stock in the hotel. We put fennel seeds, cloves, coriander seeds, garlic, etc., etc. Bring it to the boil for about 20 minutes. Simmer it then for a further 40 minutes. Let it go cool naturally because the flavour keeps getting better and better, and then we strain.
So Chris, how long does it take to cook risotto?
Anything between 15 and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
We're going to start adding in our homemade vegetable stock, ladle by ladle.
And do you find if the stock is warmer that the risotto cooks faster?
Oh yes, the stock must be warm, because if we're putting cold stock into this now, we'll slow down the whole process. Just have it in a nice simmer.
Yeah, these are great tips. And we're cooking here like you have your lovely fine dining restaurant, buffet restaurant.
Absolutely. So in the morning time where we are right now situated, this would be our breakfast buffet. So we have a breakfast buffet running down around the whole way.
I must say, like even your fresh pancakes, your ham here I saw this morning, your porridge, the wee drop of cream liqueur, the spread is fantastic. And then this is your fine dining restaurant.
And this is also our fine dining restaurant. We have 2 AA Rosette restaurant here. We do anything between 60 to 120 a night. We have our cabaret nights on a Wednesday night. That's a 5-course menu. followed by entertainment with Noel Cunningham. Noel Cunningham's the host.
And he'll entertain you.
The host with the most. So it's an amazing menu. We have an array of choice.
And then the location right on the lake is spectacular.
Blue Stack Mountains. We do a lot of weddings here, the wedding photography. I got married here myself in 2012.
Really?
You have, for life, your pictures here. You know, like,
no, nice. So how are we looking here?
So we're looking good. The risotto's getting there now. We're just going slowly on the rice. I don't want the rice to be overcooked or stodgy. There has to be a wee bite to the rice for me. You know? The leeks we're using here is very finely chopped, using mostly the green part of the leek, because I want the risotto to be a nice, vibrant green colour.
You do cookery classes here, don't you?
Yes, we do. Cookery demonstrations are included part of the package in Harveys Point every Tuesday and Thursday, 52 weeks of the year. We give our recipes as well. We don't hide away. We share them.
So it's kind of plumping up. You can see it kind of
plumping
changing.
Up now. So we're going to add in one more stock, and then we're going to add in our leeks.
You cut them really thin.
Really, really
fabulous.
thin.
Nice skills.
A lot of people discard the green of the leek, but I think it's very underrated, and we should utilise it more. Yeah. So the other wee ingredient we're going to add in now is our leek puree. It's a nice, vibrant leek puree.
Gorgeous. How'd you do that?
So how we do that is we cut our leeks, we boil them in lightly salted water, we remove them when they're soft, we put them to a food processor, and then with the liquor of the leeks, we blend them until we get this nice texture here, just till it coats the back of the spoon.
Lovely. Oh. So you have the sliced leeks and the puree, so you're getting a nice kick from leeks here, and you only add that towards the end.
Add that towards the end. We just want it to be a nice, vibrant green colour.
That's right.
So the next ingredient we're going to add in now, Nevin, is a little bit of mascarpone cheese. Gives it a nice lightness, and we'll just change the colour to a wee bit more lighter. And we just mix it in. Gives a nice creaminess to the risotto. And then we're going to add in our aged Parmesan cheese. Nice grated Parmesan. And we're going to add in the mussels that you prepped earlier.
And the bay leaf is a great tip.
And the bay leaf's a great tip. Just a nice background flavour of the bay leaf. And then just to give a nice glossiness to the risotto as well, I add in a little bit of butter. So it's important that we just keep mixing when the butter goes in, because we don't want to split the risotto. And we will add in our salt.
The salt
just
at the very end.
Pinch of salt. And some black pepper. Now I personally like using black pepper because I think it's more pungent flavour. So a very, very important thing to do as professional chefs, cooking at home, we must taste our food. So it might need a bit more salt, might need a bit more pepper.
So what are you looking for when you taste the risotto?
From the first taste, I want hit with that flavour of mussel and leek.
And then the rice, just as you said, a slightest
bit of bite in the rice.
So is that ready now?
That's ready now, Nevin. So now we're ready to plate up. So we want some of our nice mussels in there. Some of our nice mussels to garnish from earlier. Just nice 3 mussels here. And then we will put some more Parmesan on top. Finely chopped chives for garnish as well. And
that looks fantastic.
Our mussel and leek risotto at Harveys Point.
Looks lovely. I want to get a little bit of the mussel.
Absolutely.
That's so good. The sweetness of the mussel, creaminess of the risotto, the leeks. What a great dish. Chris, you're a gentleman. You and your team keep up the great work. Thanks.
You're very welcome, and always very welcome at Harveys Point.
Michael, it's great to be here in your processing plant, and this has been a family business since 1986.
My father started the business in 1986, so we buy fish from the boats in Killybegs and we process them then through the factory. So we process mackerel, herring, horse mackerel, blue whiting and sprat. We process them into 20 kilo blocks, and then we ship them out to places like China, Japan, Africa, mainland Europe. As well as that, we have a secondary side of the business, and that's the added value side. So we wanted to do something a bit different with the fish rather than just shipping it out as it was. So we launched the brand Atlantic Treasures, and we had 2 products that we worked with St. Angela's Food College in Sligo. They helped us develop smoked mackerel with a honey and mustard glaze, and also smoked mackerel with ginger chili and lime glaze. We have the benefit of buying direct from the boats in Killybegs. So we have the quality side of things. We handle everything from the boats right to the customer gets it in the shop. People in other countries smoke mackerel and it's maybe 6 to 8% fat content, but what we do is we pick the highest fat content that we can get here. We pick those batches out and we kind of label them for further processing through the plant.
Why do you specifically want the higher fat content?
The higher fat is the nicer taste and texture, and it's also easier to smoke.
And what's the season for mackerel?
So the seasons start from September and maybe end of September. Sometimes, depending on weather, it runs into October, and it'll finish about February, end of February.
And would these be fresh mackerel here?
We freeze everything down and batch it out. This is mackerel that we've defrosted now to bring through to the other side. But mackerel has to be frozen down anyway. When it's frozen down, the oils and the protein go in between the skin of the fish. It tastes better.
Okay.
Yeah. So even if you were buying mackerel in the summer, you would still freeze it down then and then process it after that.
So you bulk freeze it?
We bulk freeze it and then pick the best batches, and then we further process that through the lines.
So you're very particular about the size of the mackerel?
Yeah, so when we get the product that goes through the primary side of things, we actually bring out a specific grade for these. So we do a 330 to a 550 size mackerel.
And what's happening here? Because they're whole, they're not gutted.
These are a hand-cut side fillet, Adam. Here's one of our best filleters. The hand-cut side fillet leaves the head and the tail and just the belly. Takes out most of the bone. Now, it can't be completely boneless, but the hand-cut side fillet gets away most of the bone from it. We look out for as well as the yield, and you're getting the right yield from the fillet. So the yield is between about 48 to 52%.
And what happens with all the head and the bones of the mackerel?
The waste then goes to the fish meal.
I was recently down in Clare Island where they have the organic salmon. They use that.
Yeah, and that's where it will further go on to then. Yeah.
So after this process, when Adam has them all filleted, what happens next?
So after this, they'll be put onto racks, and then they'll be put into a brine. And the brine lasts about 10 minutes, and that adds salt to them to give them a better shelf life. It's brought in further then onto the racks, into the smoker.
We'll go and have a look at that, will we?
Yeah, no bother at all.
Thanks a million, mate.
Okay. This is our mackerel now, coming out of the smoker. It's been smoked now just for 5 hours. What we're doing now is taking them off the racks, and they're going to glaze some of them. So remember I was telling you earlier on about we do a honey and mustard and a ginger chili and lime. They'll be glazing the fish, and then it goes back in again then to be cooked.
What kind of wood do you use when you're smoking?
Oak wood chippings for the smoke. But we also then, we launched a plain and a pepper smoked mackerel as well into our range there about 1.5 years ago. We wanted to do something different with the plain smoked mackerel, so we came up with a maple wood smoked mackerel, and it just won an award there, the Blasnahairn Silver in Blasnahairn.
Congratulations,
Thank
a
you,
great award. Now I see they're doing this by hand, so this is a glaze they're putting on,
so everything's done by hand. Yeah, this is the honey and mustard glaze here going on. So we do the honey and mustard, ginger chili and lime, and then we also have our plain and pepper. Our plain's the maple wood smoked, and then the mixed peppercorn we do instead of a black pepper, we do a mixed peppercorn.
So after this is brushed, what the ladies are doing, or spreading over the glaze, it goes back in for how long?
Yeah, back in for about half an hour, and that's it cooked then.
Now, as well as your mackerel, you do the herring.
We launched 4 new products of marinated herring there last year. Dill one, balsamic one, star anise, and also mustard. The same as we use the mackerel, we use the herring as well from what we do, so we only pick the best quality herring as well to further process down the line.
And is it the same process? You buy them in, you freeze them?
Yeah, fillet them, and then we cut them into small pieces.
Vinegar and sugar kind of pick them?
Yeah, so it's marinated in a vinaigrette. People sometimes are put off by herring because they're very bony, but the marinade actually dissolves the bone in them, so there's no bone in them. Yeah, and the shelf life then, you get 11 months from the shelf life. The Irish market, we've got a great response from people about it. It seems to be an up-and-coming thing. I think people, for tapas, things like that, people like those kind of things out on a plate, so it seems to...
And it's very healthy.
Yeah, exactly.
This has been absolutely fascinating, Mike.
I'm glad you liked it.
Fair play to you. Keep up the great work.
Thank you very much.
I'm using natural smoked haddock for this recipe, and this is undyed smoked haddock from Sally Barnes in West Cork. What an amazing producer. The skin is on, it's naturally smoked, and it's pin bone, so there's no bone. So we're going to poach this. I'm going to show you a lovely kind of a breakfast or a brunch recipe for this. So milk, full fat milk. We're going to get a little bit of flavour. I'm going to put a bay leaf, and just if you're using bay leaf, just simply just tear it like that. And just whisk the milk, and we're just going to gently poach this. It won't take long. So put it flesh side down, and then just make sure it comes to the boil, and then let it simmer away. Now you can do this in the oven, but on the hob you're constantly watching it, and it won't take long at all. While that's on there, we're going to do a lovely potato rosti. So I've just grated 2 rooster potatoes, peel them, grate them, and you know as if you're grating cheese, the exact same thing. Put in some melted butter. I'm going to put in some herbs into this. I have some chopped chives, but I'm going to show you how to chop some parsley, nice and fine. So chives, and some lovely flat leaf parsley. So just get a couple of little sprigs of that. We're going to chop this nice and fine. Just rock it over and back. And I'm scooping all in with your potatoes. sea salt, black pepper. Get a fork and you mix it all together. So you're evenly mixing the herbs through the potato, that it's all coated. Because if you grate your potato, say 20 minutes beforehand, it'll go just discolor, it just oxidizes. So on this pan, we're going to put some rapeseed oil, and then we're going to cook just one rosti in this. So a nice drizzle. Pan is preheated, and then using your fork, spoon this down, flatten it with the back of the fork. One nice big rosti for this. So I'm kind of going to the edge of the pan. I want a nice big rosti here. And that's going to take a couple of minutes to cook. And I have it on half the temperature, so it's not on low heat, it's not on a very high heat, on a medium heat, which is perfect. So while the haddoc's on, we're just going to poach your eggs. Best quality eggs you can get, and a little bit of vinegar. Don't put salt into the water, because it'll break up the egg whites. And we're going to crack our eggs, just bring them down. So it's the vinegar that coagulates, it means it just firms up the actual egg white. Now the one thing you don't want to do is keep it in a full heat, because if it's boiling too fast, again it's going to break up the egg. So I'm going to reduce this slightly, just let that gently poach. Check on the fish. So how you know when the fish is cooked? When you can flip it over if you want to, and if it falls apart, and that's that lovely subtle colour, because there's no dye in this. So you just literally get the spoon, and that's nearly done there. So the rosti should be ready to be turned using your fish slice, and then just flip it over. Golden brown, it's cooking through. I'm going to switch my poached eggs off. I like them lovely and soft and runny. Carefully going to lift out my haddock, and I'm going to keep it warm. So I'm just going to wrap it in a little bit of tin foil, and then we're going to make up our sauce. Won't go cold. Smell of that. And then wrap that like that. So we don't want it to go cold, that's really important. And then we're going to make our sauce. So into the sauce, a little bit of lemon zest. Just grate that. We're going to put in some mustard. Dijon or English mustard, doesn't really matter. Just a teaspoon. And I'm going to put a little bit of lemon juice, just a squeeze. And then we're going to whisk this. Now to thicken the sauce, I'm going to add in a little bit of diluted corn flour. So I'll just remove the bay leaf, and then corn flour. A couple of spoonfuls of corn flour with water. So I don't want it too thick, I don't want it too gloopy. I want a lovely kind of light coating consistency. So just whisk that through. Looks good to me. A tiny little bit of salt, a little bit of black pepper, and then we're passing it through the sieve and finishing up with chives. It's as easy as that. Just using a little jug and a sieve, and then we just pass it through like this, and then just knock it to the side. Now, a couple of lovely chopped chives, and stir that through, and there we have beautiful sauce that you've poached your haddock in. And the chives at the last minute give so much freshness, you can see that. We should be ready to serve. First of all, put a rosti. It's going to go on there. So we have a little baby spinach, a little bit of watercress. So I'm just going to put this on top of the rosti, but it's going to go underneath the fish. So just arrange that. So there's plenty of green and goodness in this breakfast, or brunch, or even lunch. You can serve it whatever way you like it. Next thing, we have our haddock, and we're just going to literally just kind of spread it moist. It's like that's beautifully cooked. It's not overcooked, it's not dry. So I'm just going to arrange this, taking it off the actual skin. Now, and then our eggs. Using a slotted spoon, lift them out. And then I think one probably is going to be enough for this. Put that on top. Our sauce is next. And there we go. I can smell the lovely smoked haddock, the lovely crispness of the potato rosti, and then we have the lovely tartness with a little bit of mustard in the lovely sauce. And that is my smoked haddock, potato rosti with poached egg and mustard sauce.